Okay, this particular video is going to cover the two houses. One of the first topics is what are the size and elective terms of the House and the Senate? Um, then it'll be how are seats in the House apportioned to the states? What is, I bet you this is gerrymandering. I don't know why there's a blank here. Uh, but maybe it's because I'm trying to get you to focus on gerrymandering. What are the qualifications for the House and Senate? Basically, there's more strict qualifications for the Senate than the House. You can start at the House at a younger age. The immigration requirements are less. That's the main issues. Let's look at this visual and then move on. Oh, yeah. And it demonstrates the Connecticut Compromise, where you get the small states represented with equal representation with the Senate, two senators per state, and then the House representation accords representation based on state population. And then you have your bicameral legislature. Today, there is 435 members in the House. The number is not fixed by Constitution, it's set by Congress. Seats are a portion of states according to population. As one of the largest, if not, I think the largest population, I think California has 53 House members. Each state is guaranteed at least one member. 7 states have only one member. So California is much bigger and population-wise than quite a few states. Territories have shadow reps, meaning they get to go, but they don't get voting power. They're elected for a 2-year term with no term limits. There's a lot of talk about term limits and professional politicians being a problem. Let's go ahead and jot in the notes according to population. Um, People have mixed feelings about term limits. When you have term limits, you don't really get as much choice, but some people say without term limits, you're not going to get much turnover because there's such an advantage to the incumbents. And the incumbents aren't necessarily looking out for others. Maybe they're more looking out for themselves. The formal qualifications for the House, you have to be 25 years old, the U.S. citizen for at least 7 years. You have to live in the state you're elected in, at least some of the time. And typically uh, live in the district that you're representing. Informally, party identification, name recognition, gender, ethnic background, and political experience all factor into how you're voted for. See the person pictured here? Um, Jerry McNerney. He's the representative for the Ninth Congressional District here in California. And so he represents the people here in Lodi. Usually it's not just one city, but definitely he's represent Lodi. He might be representing Stockton too. I don't know, or Galt or Lockford. You'd have to look. Reapportionment. Every 10 years, there's a census. Census is a count of the population. The last was in 2020 now. So this should be updated. So let's update it. I don't know. I don't know if it was exactly 2020. It wasn't exactly 2020. Then it was 2022. Okay. Anyway, there's what's known as the Reapportionment Act of 1929, and it set the number of seats at 435. And they instruct the Census Bureau to automatically recalculate the number of representatives that should go to each state. The single member districts, the one House member represents one district. Population size determines the number of representatives per state, and those with smaller populations only have one representatives. I would think talking Delaware, maybe Rhode Island. I would guess would be some of the smaller ones. Could be a bigger state with a small population. I'm not sure like how Alaska is populated or Montana, even though they're large. I don't know if they have a lot of people there. They might have more than one, but you have to look. I know Alaska is like one of the largest states, but the density of population is pretty small. Um, so add in a couple of these blanks and keep it moving. See if we can figure out this. Okay. Yep. Montana. Yep. Alaska. See the one? This is showing you the number of House representatives per state. Does California have the most? For sure. By a lot. But then it's looks like to me Texas and Florida and New York are tied. Then you got some big Pennsylvania, Illinois, Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania. They are talking double digits. Oh, look, Washington, probably Seattle. Uh, it's probably one of the main reasons why that got so big. But Hawaii has two. Looks like you have North and South Dakota with one, Wyoming with one, Delaware with one. Rhode Island actually has two. Must be densely populated. Vermont has one. Huh. Okay. Since 2008, California districts drawn up by a 14-member nonpartisan commission. Let's see if we can make that bigger. Let's see if I can see that better. I want to make this smaller. Or better yet, let's just push it over to here. And make it bigger. And make this bigger. If you play with the size, sometimes you can see things a little bit better. Yeah, I think we might be able to see that a little bit better. Let's see. Yeah. It's better. I think this would be 9. It's right off the delta. I think that'd be McNerney's district. Not that big, it doesn't look like. It's not the best visual of this. Let's try this. See if we can't find a better visual of this. By looking at California. Right? On the map. I bet you we can find a better image. See, there you go. So Lodi, Acampo, Lockford, Galt, Lathrop, all the way. Does it include Manteca? Looks like yeah, but some of Tracy, not all of Tracy. All the way to Antioch, but not, maybe not all the way in Antioch. Rio Vista, wow, that's a really weirdly configured district. But definitely, Lodi and Stockton are at the heart of it. You can see that. I think the bigger they do the lettering on a map, the more populous an area is. Let's see if we can't see any better images of this. Let's see. It's like now District 10. Why is it saying District 10? California District 9? What? Mm. So the thing is, they keep redrawing it. So that's why there's like a gazillion of these maps. And it's hard to figure out what the right one is. But when in doubt, go to the government website. I want to see the 2021 one. So you got to keep looking sometimes. Let's see if we got this one. There it is. So yeah, definitely at the heart of it is Lodi, Stockton. Mm, yeah, it goes out to Discovery Bay, Brentwood, Antioch, Oakley, Galt, Elk Grove. Not in the same district. I don't know which one I'm in. Am I in 8? Bet you I'm in this one. Looks like Highway 99 bisects it. So I wonder if some of my people are in. I don't know. Anyway, that's what it currently is. Now I'm curious about my district. Let's look at my Congress District 8. Am I in 8? Well, that doesn't look right. Maybe it's District 7? Well, I don't know. Let's look again. Yeah, that looks like me. Yeah, Elk Grove. But totally, it's like Sac is kind of cut off into District 6. I think you should keep kind of a whole city together. It sort of makes sense to me. But they do it automatically now, and I don't think they care. All right. Anyway, there you go. So we don't have the same congressional representative. Okay. Let's get back to the story. Sorry for the walkabout there. Um, Most of this is because of a thing called gerrymandering. We mentioned Edmund Gerry when we looked at the Constitution. The definition of gerrymandering, that's when you draw congressional district lines to benefit one party or group. It's a common practice in most states where the party in power uh, in the state draws the lines. In a decision in 1964, Lasbury v. Sanders, the Supreme Court said you're supposed to portion according to the principle one person, one vote, meaning it's not supposed to be skewed in particular of any one party or other. But the practice of gerrymandering, trying to draw lines to benefit you and your party, has been longstanding. Uh, they allowed most drawing of lines as long as it wasn't based on race. And alone. So it's really hard to oppose. But it's named after this guy named Ed Elbridge Gerry of Massachusetts. He worked on the Constitution. He's one of 3 who refused to sign. He ends up going on to be vice president under Madison. That's what it's named after. Packing and cracking. These are the most common methods of gerrymandering. If you use the packing technique, you concentrate the opponents, voters, all into one district. Concentrates opposition voters into one or a few districts. Why you do this? You do this to keep their power from spreading or having a greater impact. I'm going to show you examples of all kinds. So we're going to look at them, and I'm going to say packing or cracking. And you tell me packing, you tell me cracking. All right? And then I'll point to the right one while we're going through it. Cracking. This breaks the opposition voters up to where they can never have a majority in their area. Spreading them around to weaken and not making them an effective district that'll win or weaken them overall in the state. Which gerrymandering to find to be the ugliest? I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at that. Let's come back to that. Packing. So you push all your opponents into one. See how the red is disadvantaged? Cracking. You spread out your enemy's strength so where you can defeat them. So you're the pinks dominating. This is the gerrymander. See how it looks like a bird of prey? maybe like a dinosaur, maybe like a griffin, maybe like a hybrid griffin dinosaur. But basically, it's congressional manipulation to win, and you get these really weird looking geographical configurations. This is North Carolina's fourth district. This would be known as the Hanging Claw. I think this is, I don't know. I don't know if it's packing or cracking. This one is known as the Pinwheel of Death. I don't think you'd know if it's packing or cracking unless you looked at the particulars. But this one, these look like cracking to me, the first two. I'm not 100% sure though. This looks like packing because you put them all on the coast where you might have similar constituency. This one looks like another packing one, 8 miles. So you have the poor folks here. So you probably have a Democratic packing situation. This one I have no idea. This one's nicknamed the Latin earmuffs. I don't know why they call it the Latin earmuffs. If someone figures it out, let me know. It's probably because there's an area here where 8 Mile is. Thank you, Eminem. The Mistake by the Lake. This is probably Lake Michigan. No, Lake Erie. So see, all the nicknames are the Pinwheel of Death. They're all negative sounding because people were pushing back on them. And I don't know for sure if they're packing or cracking, but you can make a reasonable inference, and I think that's just fine. Which one did I find to be the ugliest? Oh, I don't know. I think the Pinwheel of Death. But make your own choice and just say why. All right, let's go to the next couple. We'll call it a lecture. All right, the size of the Senate. Constitution states shall be composed of two senators from each state. So every time they admit two more senators, they gotta expand, or a state, they have to expand the Senate to add two more people. So it's two per state, no matter what. That was the compromise. And that's what they're staying with because that's what's in the Constitution. So total, you get 100 senators. Each senator represents the entire state, not half the state, not where they're from, the entire state. Though they're all considered the constituency. Again, whether they voted for that senator or not. And they, because they represent the whole state, they represent a wide range of constituencies or people and interests. Okay, here you have a few people pictured. It looks like female senators, I would guess. Yep, because there was Feinstein. So, and I know her. She actually was mayor of San Francisco at one time, and then she went on to the Senate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 female senators from my count out of 100. I don't know if that's all of them, but if it is, that says a lot too. They serve 6 year terms. They have staggered elections, which is 3 times as long as the House. Basically, about a third up every year. I don't think it's exactly a third because I don't think you, you can't have 33 and a third senators up. So it's 33, 34, maybe in the 30 to 35 range, depending on when the election occurs. They generally have more job security and less day to day scrutiny. So they tend to focus on the big issues, national issues, rather than a local district. Here you have someone looking for bigger issues in cartoon form. Love a good cartoon. So I like that visual. All right, let's go ahead and dial in any notes. 1/3, always have 1/3 up before election. Okay. Job security. What are the qualifications to be a senator? They're a little bit more rigorous or than representative. You have to be 30 as opposed to 25. You have to be a citizen for not 7 years, but 9. Some of this you'll be expected to know. Um, you have to live in the state you're elected from. That's what an inhabitant is, someone that lives in a place. And the Senate may expel a fellow member if they get a majority vote. 15 total have occurred of senators that have been expelled, but 14 were because of and during the Civil War when emotions were running high. Originally, the senators were chosen by state legislatures. The question is why? Well, they thought they didn't trust the people all that much, which is ironic because under that system, political machines led to someone like Boss Tweed getting more power in New York than most any politicians. Sometimes they're abused, and there's a there's a bunch of payoffs made to senators. We started becoming known as the Millionaires Club because once you became a senator, you could get all kinds of bribes. So, in the Gilded Age, they looked at it and decided we need to improve things. And in 1913, they changed things to have direct elections um, by um, by the people, basically, in each state. It's a or popular sovereignty, however you want to put it. The people are going to vote directly. I think you would call it direct election by the citizens of the state. So the people are going to rule going forward. This was one of 4 reforms that occurred. IDPS, I do not play sports. Indirect election of senators, or no, income tax, direct election of senators, prohibition was 18, 19, suffrage, when we get the vote. These are all reforms to try to help things. I will talk through the answers, but I'm not typing anything. What are the size and elective terms of House and Senate? The House is 435 representatives. Uh, the elective terms are every 3 years, while the Senate is 100 senators and elective terms every 6 years. How are the seats in the states House apportioned to the states? House seats are apportioned to the states based on an automatic process that connects to the census, and it leads to gerrymandering. What is gerrymandering? It's drawing congressional boundaries to benefit your particular party. What are the qualifications of the House and Senate? Qualifications for the House: you must be 25 years old, be a U.S. citizen for at least 7 years. Qualifications for the Senate: you must be 30 years old and a citizen for at least 9 years. That concludes this slide. We'll go to the next one shortly. Thanks for doing your best.